All right, everybody. Welcome to today's Mega Bloodbath featuring Don Scubalicious and B.S. Lewis. They're debating the topic: are there good reasons to believe in God? And Scooby is taking the affirmative, BS is taking the negative. And so I think this should be a very enjoyable discussion. Now, as with all the mega bloodbaths. We've got pretty simple rules. Let's keep it. Let's keep the low blows out, right? Let's not do any low blows here. With the super chats, $5 gets displayed on the screen, and we'll interrupt the conversation and ask a question or make a statement. If it's a really mean statement, I'll probably hold those to the end, and I reserve the right to filter those out depending on the severity. Uh, so sometimes they are kind of mean, and I would like the ability to filter them out. Right, $2 will also get displayed on the screen, but same thing with really mean things. But yeah, $2 will get displayed on the screen. There is an additional minute that will add to the open discussion. The open discussion is 1 hour. We'll have a opening and closing as well, which are 8 minutes each. We can add up to an hour on the open discussion portion with super chats, right? So $1 in super chats adds a minute to that, up to 60 minutes. With the main discussion here, are there good reasons to believe in God? Don, you're going to be taking the affirmative, so you'll do your opening statement first. Are you prepared for your opening statement?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Let me know when you're ready, and I'll start
All
your
right.
8 minute timer.
All right. Whenever you're ready, you can start your timer.
Also
all right.
make sure to subscribe to BS Lewis. I have his link in the description, and I'll do another promo for you at the tail end as well. But BS Lewis, subscribe to him if you're not. Sorry. All right, you have 8 minutes starting now.
All right. Thank you. All right. Let me see here. Good reasons to believe in God. Well, I think the best way I could describe the reasons you should believe in God is you can't explain everything in life. No human being can. We've been trying for centuries, millennia, as far back as we look. They still seem to keep looking to find, you know, the reasons for existence, why we're here. And the more that we dig and the more that we look, the more it seems to me that we just don't have, the good answers, the right answers, any answers, except when we look in the good book, as some people call it, the Bible. That's where we get most of our answers. Talk without it. So, I mean, to try to sum up the reasons to believe in God, it's a tall order. You can walk down the beach, you see all the grains of sand, you'll see the multiple waves, you look up, you see the clouds, all the different shifting patterns, then you see the sunset, you'll see the stars. It's just, it's so all encompassing that you think about it, that you yourself are like a microcosm of everything you're looking at. There's so many cells in your body. And all these cells they're in intercommunication, and it's, to me, the complexity of creation. It's just so overwhelming. It saturates your very being. For me, for there not to be something else, something bigger out there. Do I think that it's, an old man in a beard with a beard and a robe, with a bunch of scrolls and a big quilt pen, writing everything down in a book? I mean, yeah, that's epic. It's metal. That's something you'd see in a comic book. It's cool, yeah, but it may be that way. It may not. Who knows the exactness of what it is? I mean, when I'm showing my age can date myself. When I was a kid, they had the Oh God movies with George Burns. And God was a short Jewish guy from Brooklyn with a really gravelly voice that smoked cigars. And, then you watch Bruce Almighty, black guy in a white suit from Mississippi, and but they both worked as for the time and the medium and what they were trying to express. They nailed it. And it's just one of those things where trying to explain to me is like trying to explain, when you're a young man, your first kiss from that girl you really, really like. Words aren't going to do it justice. It's something you feel within your gut. I apologize for getting esoteric with it and not having a more concrete definition I could give, because I understand B.S. Lewis is going to, want something to refute, and I understand that. But to me, it's just, there really isn't a good way what God is. So trying to sum up why you should believe in God, again, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. You try all you want. You're not going to succeed just because it's deep. So you have God, and that connection is yours alone. Now, I say this as a Catholic, and people are going to say to me, well, what about the Catholics? What about the nuns? Aren't you supposed to talk to and deal with them? Yeah. Every priest I've ever talked to, it was never something grandiose. They would say the simplest things, and you'd get gobsmacked because they would sum up what you were trying to figure out in less than a paragraph. The words just came to them. That's the reason that these people became priests and they became nuns, that they felt the calling. Not everyone is going to feel that. See, even my dog agrees. So the best way I can describe why you should believe in God is same reason I'll tell you should believe in yourself. You feel yourself. I mean, you can feel in your skin, deep down inside, who you are truly. Despite what people say about you, you know yourself better than anyone. And I'd like to think that God is a reflection of that. That's your place in the universe. So the question is, why not to believe in God, but why shouldn't you believe in a God? Does it have to be the view I have of God? No. It doesn't. To get it down to the basic nuts and bolts, to the brass tacks of it, Catholics at our core, it's just simply, they say you have to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. That's just a nice way of, it's a flowery way of saying, do you believe Christ died for your sins? Well, the answer to that is obviously yes. You don't have to believe in the divinity of Christ. You just have to acknowledge the fact that this man went willingly to the cross because it was his belief that he was saving everyone. And just acknowledging that, well, that's the core to your salvation. That this being that created all of creation, just so creation would exist. Well, I couldn't think of a more simpler gift. Yeah, gotcha. I can't think of a more simple gift than simply this being that created everything says, just believe and you'll be saved. And that's it. And yeah, Taco, I think I pretty much wrapped it up. I tried to drag it for 8 minutes, so
Perfect.
I'm glad I hit the mark.
Thank you for the great introductory statement. And B.S. Lewis, let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
You've got 8 minutes.
So thanks for taking the debate, Scoob. That's a very touching opening. I think that you gave us a little bit to work with on the apologetic bingo card. I heard a variation of the watchmaker, an appeal to personal experience. Mainly when it comes to the title, our prompt for the debate. Are there good reasons to believe in God? I think I'm only going to hammer really two of the words in there. First, I want to, when we get into the open dialogue, I want to know what you define God as. Because I've talked to some people like our own Hank O'Flamio, who visits here frequently, and he takes a very abstract definition of God. So basically, like if you have ever seen a movie, a Marvel movie with Thor in it, you believe in a God according to his thing, because you believe that there's a concept of a thing named Thor and Odin and Jesus, and therefore, like, he thinks it's some kind of gotcha. I don't think you're going to go that loosey-goosey with your definition because you're a Catholic, but towards the end of your opening there, it started drifting into that a little bit. So I'm interested to see how you define it. And the other possibly contentious word we have in our prompt is good. But I'm fine that it's not narrowed down. It's okay to leave it vague because we have an hour to kill in dialogue. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, well, is it logically good? I think I'm going to hammer that pretty quickly and make my point that no, there is no logically good reason to believe in a God. But what about emotionally good? You know, it serves some kind of utility. It serves some kind of pragmatic purpose. It makes me feel good. I think that's where we can get into like more of a moral discussion about if there are good reasons. I don't think so on that front either. If you give me any good reasons, I'll probably find a way to flip them where they're also bad. It's just a matter of perspective. But mainly my strategy is I'm going to try to give you proof positives to why there isn't good reasons, but mainly kind of address your reasons and let you know why they're not good, at least good enough for me to believe in a God. And I encourage others who hear me talk about it, like, think about it and really question if it's good enough for them to believe in a God as well. With that, I just concede the rest of my time for the open discussion.
All right. Thank you so much. Fight. Let's avoid the low blows. You've got an hour. When y'all are both ready, are y'all both ready?
Aye, Captain.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Perfect. Mega bloodbath engaged. That means good.
Rock on, brother.
So you were saying, bro?
You have a what definition of God are you working with? What is a God?
You know, it's obviously, I don't know if you picked up the accent yet. I'm a New Yorker, so I've dealt with pretty much every faith and every walk of life. So I tend to look at God. I mean, I'm of the belief he can appear in any form. You know, I don't think that there's static. I mean, in Dogma, he was it's Morissette. So, you know, and that was the first two acts of the movie as an old man that was hanging out down at the Jersey Shore. So, my definition of God, just I'm not trying to skirt your question. So just let me, my definition of God is, you know, the creator of creation and, you know, the being from which everything came. So that's pretty much the best summation I can give you. Old Testament and say, you know, he stands about 6'9". He's got a huge head of white hair and a big flowing white beard, and you know, has a big beautiful robe and sandals. But yeah, I mean, let's be real. That we're talking of that was a geocentric universe. You know, the Earth revolved around the sun, and the Earth was flat at that point. That's what people thought. So I can't really go too hardcore with that definition. You know, you have to evolve with the time. So I just stick with he's the Alpha and the Omega, the creator of creation.
So a creator is a big that's like one of the main defining factors thing for you, right? I'll let you expand on that because there's a lot of things like that can go. And do you believe that in other gods? Like, do you believe that there were other gods in the Bible?
Well, the other gods, and I should maybe mention this also. I did minor when I was in college in cultural anthropology. I had a big interest in theology, folklore, superstitions, different cultural beliefs. So, like the Israelites, they had the belief that Yahweh was their God, which is obviously who God. I like to use the term evolve from in a scientific way of looking culturally. Not biologically. I don't mean it like that. Culturally, Yahweh, which the Catholics in Latin we refer to as Jehovah, that was the local god of Israel, and then you had the Moabites and the Canaanites and the different groups all had their own gods also. And this is, I believe, around the time of King David. And then from there, it progressed to where God was then a regional god. And then once the Roman Empire got involved, God became the God Empire, which when the Roman Empire became the church, which it was. A lot of naysayers say that the Roman Empire created the Catholic Church, whereas we Catholics look at it as we absorbed the empire into our church. So, two different opinions on the same story. But again,
So
to get back, yeah, I do believe that there are other beings. That I don't think that God is the only one, but see, the thing is, depending on which old belief you go with. Like if you look into Sefer Raziel, they said that God was the creator of all creation. That's supposed to be the first that I believe it was the archangel.
So it seems that being a creator isn't the only thing necessary to be qualified as a god. So it's something besides being a creator that makes a thing a god, right? We have different definitions for what is a human. Like, and we don't just say, "Oh, it has to be a king to be a human." There's like bipedal, and it stands upright. Like, so that's the kind of definition I'm looking for. So, like, obviously, creator isn't a necessary defining marker for what a god is. So, what would you think that the God of the Bible plus Baal plus all those other ones that you mentioned, what do they all have in common that they, could qualify them as gods?
Well, Baal itself that's I believe Canaanite, and it just means Lord. Like there was Baal Hadad and a few different ones depending on which region you were in. But what
the Table of Nations
what
and all that stuff.
Right. So see, this is the thing. I talked about to Taco about this a while back. The problem is in the English language, the word God itself. We use the word God to describe different beings. The beings that you and I would classify as gods. I don't see them being as the same as Jehovah. Like in other words, the word is being misused. But that's part of the reasons a lot of us will refer to God as, the Lord. It's kind of big with the Protestants, but basically.
So can I give you a suggestion?
Yeah, please go right ahead.
This is how I understand it whenever somebody says gods, because I'm an atheist, so I don't have a coherent belief in God because I don't have a coherent definition of what a god is. But as far as I can tell, when people say God, I think they mean something along the lines of authority. And it doesn't have to be authority overall. It could be like the old, the god of thunder was the authority of thunder, and the god of the sea was the authority of the sea.
Right.
Would that be a fair defining factor to what you think a god is?
Well, that's where I was getting at actually is it's not just us. It came from the Jews originally. The belief system is that there are different angels assigned to different things. There's an angel of light, an angel of thunder, an angel of storms, angel of clouds, angels of grass. I mean, it's a lot of angels. So, what the belief?
Why do you separate it as angel and God? Why did you make the switch there?
No, I'm just telling you. It's our belief system. I was going to get into it a little bit, if I may. What it is with well, you said you're an atheist and you don't have a working def. I was just going to break it down for you. What our belief system is as far as the other pantheons go. I'm sure you've heard of it because it's just been so popular in media for the past 20, 30 years. The Nephilim, the offspring of their belief, it's an old belief in the Book of Enoch, that there were angels. They were referred to as the Grigori, that translates to the Watchers. They were the ones.
Yeah,
So the Greek
men of renown.
pantheons, right, that sort of exactly.
Yeah, I'm very
And
familiar with
so-
the lore. I would like to kind of stick to the point of the questioning. I already understand. I was a Christian my whole life. I
Right.
know about the Nephilim. I know about all that stuff. So my question is, like, why did you switch from gods that are authorities over everything to angels? What's the difference between a god and an angel?
Well, God is the creator. He's the center of everything. Again, it's just the English term that we use, God, because it's also applied to the beings in the pantheon. So that, hence, like I said, it's not so much I'm switching. I'm just trying to break it down because you'd said
it's okay. I'm just finding it confusing, the terminology, because I'm trying to encompass what everybody means when they say God. Because the Hindus have a creation God,
right?
But they also have a god of destruction, which is still a god. It's not an angel. And so yeah, so I'm not really super. I know you're a Catholic and you're representing the Catholic worldview, but I'd like to kind of have a step out that back out in the macro and the meta a little bit, and like, what is a god that the Hindus and that
real
you guys...
fast before we get into that. Nobody on Fire did have a quick super chat. He asked, "Do the angels of storm and lightning make fun of the angel of grass behind his back?"
Oh, that's great.
That's for you.
I don't know. I think that the angels, one of the things about them is they kind of have personalities. I think it's because they don't have proper free will. Yeah. They're like not people you'd want to hang out with. They're stiffs, for lack of a better term. That's my understanding, anyway.
Do you have any chapter and verse for that? Just joking.
No, I got you.
No, but my point for my side of the debate is going to be like, there's such an ambiguous nature and a vague flexibility to the term God that at a certain point it's going to become meaningless. Like, if you're going to use angel and God and interchangeably, and you're just saying one's more boring than the other, and I'm talking about gods of the Hindu faith, and then why should I believe any of this crap anyway? If like there's no real there's no like outlined referent for me to actually envision believing in the first place. Like you said, it can be Morgan Freeman. You said it could be Alanis Morissette. That kind of speaks to the whole point that I'm talking about. Like, it could be whatever it wants. Like, it might as well be a shape-shifting chameleon, right? Like, and so, do I believe in shape-shifting chameleon? Am I reptilian peoples? Like, no, not really. But technically, a god could be a reptilian running the Illuminati too, right?
I guess. I mean, if you really want to go that
because
route,
nothing is out of the realm of impossibility with the gods, so it actually makes it worse. If I can ask you a question, and it is specifically regarding to the creationism stance that you really hold to, can you think of any evidence that is not evidence for your God?
Offhand,
anything at all, metaphysical, physical, whatever you could think of, anything that would not be considered evidence for your God.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm really...
No, you're true. That's a good, honest answer. Think about it, because ontologically, by how I frame the question, like, if you believe in a creator God, all of creation, everything that exists would be evidence pointing to the creator God, which means that you have an unfalsifiable belief. And if it's unfalsifiable, we can't prove it wrong. But the bad thing for you is we can't verify it to be true either. So, like, there goes the logical case for a good reason to believe in at least your God or a creator God, because we can neither falsify it nor verify it to be true, because there's no contrast. In my worldview as an atheist, there are created things and non-created things. I think a chair is created and a tree is non-created, is natural. But you don't have that. Like, you kind of alluded to the watchmaker argument a little bit in a weird form in your opening. And they say, oh, you find this watch on the beach. And it's like, how marvelous this intricate watch is found here on the beach. But in the Christian worldview, the whole beach is made of watches. The sand is watches. The ocean is watches. The trees are watches. The watch is a watch. You are a watch. And you're just looking and you have no point of contrast to tell the difference between yourself, the ocean, and the watch you found. Does that make sense?
Of course. That's actually very well put.
I'm a Catholic
no,
priest.
Go, please.
No, I don't want to admit that on the internet. No, take that back. So thoughts about that? Like, if I just kind of shut down the creation argument, like with that, or do you have a defense against that besides just intuition? Like, I feel like things are created. I feel like I am a created being. Like, what say you, sir?
A lot of it is, well, a lot of it is with me. It's a way of being. It's a way of feeling. It's a way of knowing. It's where everything strikes up together as a harmony. I had told Taco about this. I'm just gonna mention it's my age. I'm 46. I'm gonna be 47, and so when I was in college, the Twin Towers got hit, and my neighborhood lost about 400 people. So that was 400 families had funerals. It was rough, and that was right around where I didn't lose faith in God so much. I became angry at God. I lost faith in my church because I lost faith in humanity, and it was hard for me to both of those faith in people and faith in church. And the hardest thing for me was not just getting over the anger I had at God. I never renounced God. I never stopped believing in God. I became what was called a mesotheist. I was a straight up God hater. Yeah. I was furious with God, really angry. And it took me a long time to come back to the faith. And I told Taco what had happened. By trade, now, like I said, I minored in theology in school. I was a communications major. I used to work at a newspaper, and I was on-air personality for radio. And basically completely renewed and reinvigorated in the church. My mother was actually a little bit scared at first because when I left, I was still the same mopey, solemn person I was. And I came back, and it was like I had taken weights off. I just felt so much better. I started going to my church again. My priest looked at me because he hadn't seen me in like over a decade. He's like, what are you doing here? So it just, but going back into the church and getting back involved with it again and making my peace with God. I sound like Lieutenant Dan now, but making my peace with God and getting re-involved and reinvigorated. It just, everything clicked. Everything felt right again. I didn't feel like I needed to fill an empty, vacant void anymore. I felt, complete. I have my wife. I have my dogs. I have God. That's basically all I really need. And it was like that missing piece of the puzzle came back in. So for me, again, I apologize for this being such a long answer to such a simple question, is it's when you find God properly, you found balance within yourself. You can answer your own questions, which are the hardest questions to answer. And you can find your purpose better in life because you found your direction and you found, I guess, what you were looking for.
So, do you remember in my intro where I was talking about, I had 3 main points. One was to hit on the definition, which I feel like we kind of lost track of. I also wanted to address the logically good reasons, which I think philosophical arguments like the watchmaker and different stuff go into that. And then now we've trailed into what I would think would be my third point, the emotionally good reasons. Are there good emotional reasons? And that sounds like this is kind of one of the most compelling reasons for you to believe, is that you had personal experience with this. But I would also say that in your opening, you mentioned that there is an almost reflexive recognition of God for yourself. And my question would be, how do you know that isn't just a reflective reflection of yourself instead of a higher power outside of yourself that created everything? Like, how do you know that when you came to feel this good feeling and feel at oneness with your living situation again, and everything felt right, was because your childhood had a lot of Catholicism in it. You drifted away, then you felt kind of brought back to something that was comforting and familiar, that you felt like you maybe had a guilty conscience of walking away from, or some anger. You were a mesotheist, you say. At no point did you ever stop believing in God. You just thought he was an asshole for a period of time, and then you kind of made up with him. How do you know that you didn't just think that your own internal subconscious, or your id, or some kind of psychiatric term was the asshole, and you came to peace with yourself?
Well, the way I grew up in Catholicism, my family's been steeped in the church now for probably well over 1,200 years. Well over, maybe longer.
Quick, before you get on the story, is tradition a good reason to believe in God?
For some people, but that was the point I was getting at, is I loathed my religion when I was a kid. I grew up in one of those houses. We never referred to him as Jesus. He was always referred to as Christ. And I was raised, especially my father's family, they were Sicilians. And it was basically, Christ died for your sins, and you're going to make up for it. And my mother's family were Irish Catholic. And it's, oh my God, everything is a sin with those people. Everything is a sin. There's no pleasure in life. You have to be penitent from the moment you open your eyes to the moment you close them at night. It was just, I had aunts who were at the church constantly with the novenas. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with what a novena is you spend 9 days, I believe it's 9 hours for 9 days at the church doing rosaries in a row, solid, a week and 2 days. No, I was very much a miserable boy when I was a kid. Everyone else would get, like, it was the end of the school week to get a Happy Meal. I'd have to come home to fish because it was a penance dish. We had to be, it was just, no, I did not.
How does any of
enjoy
this
the church.
point to a God, though?
Well, no, I'm just saying, it wasn't you asked me before about feelings of guilt and why I came back to the church. It had nothing to do with my childhood. My childhood made me actually have a very, very heavy disdain. And plus, also, when you're a teenager growing up in the early 90s and then going to college, and you're getting told that by the time you turn 21, the world's going to end.
But don't you think it's ironic that you, when you did come to know, quote unquote, God, you went back to the faith of your youth? Why not become a Protestant? Why not a Hindu? Why not something else?
No, I came back to what was, to answer your question, I came back to what was comfortable for me and what I knew. But I came back to it in, right, but I came back to it under my own brand of Catholicism. I came back to it very much. I'm not a full-blown Catholic. This is where I belong. This has always been who I've been. It's always been part of my belief personally, is I just look at things through a Catholic lens. I can't help but do it because it's the most comfortable for me. But part of the reason I also got re-involved in the church, because I'm a writer, is I'd like to try to, as best I can, without destroying it too much, drag the church into the 21st century. So there's a lot of now Catholic apologists that are on YouTube, and I line up with a lot of them. There's not so much, like, it's not draped in traditional like it was when I was a kid. It's not hellbent.
Yeah, they make it cool now, right?
Right. Not so much.
Pints with Aquinas, we're going to drink a beer and talk about God. Yeah.
And the thing is, though, like with these Catholics, none of them are off-putting. Like when I was a kid, they were scary. A lot of the priests had that vibe. Again, I'm showing my age. Like that vibe, like the tall man in Phantasm.
Well, don't you guys have
remember, guys? This is a debate.
I know. Thanks.
Then we're discussing: are there good reasons to believe in God? So make sure that
we're having a very cordial debate here.
Yeah. I know. I just can remember to pull it back into the topic eventually.
That's fine. Tacos has shaken me. I'm going to be a little more aggressive with you, Don. Is that okay? I want to get back to the logical reasons. You couldn't think of any evidence outside of to that's not evidence for your God, which means is unfalsifiable. Do you understand the concept of falsifiability and why it's very important philosophically?
Yeah, no, I do, and
Yeah.
I'm
So,
again, I'm not trying to skirt the issues or anything. Like,
but you kind of
let me just
did
give you an answer. Yeah, I
when you
apologize. I
when
can't help it.
I went into that, and then you went into your emotional story about 9/11,
Yeah,
and you talk about that. And I'm trying to cut that off. Like, you seem like a really nice guy, and
thank you. I
I'm not trying
appreciate that.
to
Likewise.
crap on your life story, but I have a job to do here, right? So
Yeah, no, that's
my
fine.
job is to destroy your God. I'm just joking. So, but
That's cool.
at least
Cool the
your
way you
belief
said
in it. So, um, where does that leave you if you don't have a verifiable or falsifiable path to know that a creator God exists? At least, isn't that the central point for your web of belief? If everything else from Catholicism actually spins out from that a God has to exist for Jesus to be his son, to rise from the dead, for all the Eucharist to mean what it means, for the rosary and all this crap, all these beliefs of your childhood, all the beliefs of your current life are spreading out from this God belief. And you don't even know if the center of the web is there. Like, you can't verify that these are actually not just strands dangling in the wind. Without him, there is no Catholicism, correct? There's no personal experience.
yeah,
Your personal experience story that you told me is based on merely human tradition, merely familial bonds and emotional reasons. Correct?
yeah. Bunch of synapses firing at the right amount of time, right sequence to make me feel that way. No, I got you. The biological reactions could be the core undertone to this. It could be serotonin levels. It could be any number of things. No, I completely understand that. The thing is, and it's just a thing we've always said since I was a kid, the mysteries of faith and the strength of belief. And the biggest thing for me personally, this is me personally. This does not mean that I mean everyone has to think this way. Everyone's tired, it's a free country. You're allowed to think the way you think. But for me personally, the fact that I can't prove or disprove anything, it makes my faith so much stronger because I do want to know. I very much want an answer. And the thing is, I'm not going to get the answer till the end. And my faith is basically, it's just knowing that I don't know and I'm not going to know, but the answer will be revealed at the end of it all. That's the thing that keeps me going. And
How do you
that's
how do
the
you know
answer for me.
that? How do you know that you're going to get an answer after you're done with this life?
Comes down to personal belief and conviction.
It's another belief statement based on maybe nothing, right? Because we don't even know that there's an afterlife. Do you find it emotionally comforting to have an afterlife and live eternally?
No, because I'm going to be judged, and I wasn't exactly a saint. It terrified
you got
me.
Jesus,
Actually.
though. Jesus died for you.
I'm not a Protestant, though. My belief is.
But even if you end up in the good place, do you, like me personally? I wouldn't look forward to existing forever. That sounds like worse than hell itself.
It's dull.
Well, you can even do it. Could be the most exciting thing, but you'll end up doing everything. Like you'll if you had an eternity on this earth and there's no pain and all that stuff, like you could still do everything fun or fulfilling that you want to do, learn every instrument, learn every language, and you'll still be sitting around with all that knowledge, all that joy that you had through all that time, and have eternity ahead of you. So yeah, you will basically die of boredom. Or you'll just die, you'll just become so uninterested as a being that you'll probably just end up sitting on the couch forever and ever and ever, watching reruns of the Taco Show.
Well, let me ask you this, though. What if what we're experiencing right now, the terrestrial world that we're in, what if this is a drop in the bucket? What if the afterlife is a trillion times more things in it than what we have in this life right now? That's the other thing. Since we don't know what the afterlife is, what if this life is like the waiting room And then when you see the afterlife and all's revealed, you're like, oh my, wow, just wow.
I could get that. Yeah. That would
yeah,
be very
it would,
emotionally stimulating. But what if it's the opposite is true?
Yeah.
Your actual eternity is spent inside a box that's slightly smaller than you. That would be horrible, right? So like we could play the what if game, like
right,
what if
right.
we had the best stuff? What if we had
It's
the worst
Schrodinger's
stuff?
afterlife.
Yeah, who cares? Like, I think the belief in an afterlife, an eternal afterlife, actually cheapens this life because it takes away from your sense of experience and awness and wonderness, because you are not necessarily not you, but theoretically, one might not
A
care
person.
about this life, and the Bible tells you not so much. It tells you not to care about this life as much. You're just a wanderer wandering through. This world is not your home. There's a lot of verses that says, hate the world, friendship with it is enmity against God. So like these type of things, these type of thoughts actually take away.
I think the best answer I could give you to that is let's put faith, let's put it on the shelf for right now. Faith, belief, put it all on the shelf. It's not relevant right now. What I would say to you is this: you should live your life like there is no afterlife, but you should carry yourself morally like there is an afterlife. And that's it. That's the best way to look at life. You should live every moment like this is your last day on earth, but you should treat everybody like you're going to see them forever. And
Can
you
an
should treat
atheist
them
do
how
that?
you would want to be treated in return.
Can an
Yeah.
atheist do that?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why I said yes, you can.
No
Put
need
the
for a
faith
God
away.
in that. No good reason to have a God in that scenario. Like everything that you could bring forth to me that could be beneficial in this life, because we're talking emotional now, I can find a
Right.
secular or atheistic way to meet that need. The best thing I think you guys got over the secular people is community, but that doesn't eliminate that. You know, we can join clubs and sports and da 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 da. So community is not out of the reach of the secular person or the atheist person. A lot of us are friends here, just
Not
coming
at
to
all.
tacos and
Yeah.
talking to each other. And yeah, so can you name me one thing that a religious person who believes in God can do that a atheist can't or a secular person can't?
Oh, to be fair, I've never really met an atheist who has memorized chapter and verse of scripture. I mean, especially like when you talk to those people from down south, that's
Yeah.
it. That's probably the only thing I give. I see. That's the thing. I don't judge. I don't. When I say I'm not trying to be rude when I say I don't care that you're an atheist, I'm saying, but if you're happy being an atheist, brother, do you?
I'm
That's
not
all
trying.
great.
I'm not feeling attacked. I'm saying,
Yeah.
is there good reasons? That's the prompt.
Yeah.
Is there good reasons? So if I can do
Right.
everything
No,
you can
I'm
do,
saying.
except for memorize an old dusty book, I think that there are no good reasons to believe in a God. You know, I might spend my time memorizing Harry Potter or the Iliad or something that piques my interest more. You know,
if that's what makes you happy, if you do not need to have faith and belief like I do, more power to you, man. Seriously, I would never try to force my beliefs on you.
do you
And that's why I
concede the
tell
debate?
every atheist, well, concede what? I told you earlier in the chat.
Well,
I
I'm
said, I'm not
asking.
really looking here to
It's a
love to have
conversation.
dialogue.
So my point is, if you can't think of anything that there's a good reason to believe in a God, like that's emotional or logical, that will kind of defeat what I've already brought. Intellectually, I've kind of already pointed that you're in intellectual limbo. You're a Catholic, you believe in limbo. You know that's the Nowheresville
Right.
between the positive and the negative claim. That's where you're sitting in your unfalsifiable state of not even knowing if a God exists. That's not a good place to be in Catholicism, right?
Well, I said I personally believe in God. I just said I can't prove him. I can't prove he exists. I can't prove he doesn't exist. But it doesn't matter to me, is the point. I don't need to prove that he exists. I just have faith. That's all it comes down to. I have a strong feeling that he exists. I can't explain it. You know, scientists tell me that the sun is made out of helium, that is up there. I look up, it hurts my eyes, but I'll take their word for it. It's the same thing when the priest tells me about things. The man went to seminary. He learned all the books. He studied. I'm not going to say, hey, Father, you know, I read the book every Sunday once in a while. You know, I'll skim through the pages. I don't believe you. No. Same thing with the scientists.
Do you
I'm
know
not
that
gonna sit here and try to
the
disprove
con men want you to believe them too, and they want your faith? How do we determine who the good guys versus the bad guys are? Should we just give our faith out willy nilly, or should people earn that trust?
It should be earned, definitely. And
Yeah,
I
and
say to everybody, discern with
what
your
has
own judgment.
what has the tradition of Catholicism done to earn your trust? 12 generations or whatever you said down the road.
Just consistently made me have good feelings towards Christ. And I've always had that belief. Again, it comes back to belief, but I've always had, I guess, that gut feeling. Could call it instinct, could call it, just the little voice that whispers in your ear. Not actually like I'm hearing voices, but you know what I mean. Just
Mhm.
it's always been a cornerstone of my life, the same as the culture I grew up in, the same as just growing up here.
Back, Don, think you know nobody on fire for the super chat? Don, are you a universalist or is God a moral monster? I see this as a true dichotomy.
I think, look, I know God is smarter than all of us. And so I've said this before, to an average person, God will come across as being narcissistic. You'll come across to admit it. I can't answer all these questions like that. I don't have the answers. What I can say is that, again, it comes down to just personal experience and personal belief. You have to make the decisions for yourself. You can't rely on other people to answer them for you. When you go to a priest, you're going there for guidance. You're not asking him to. You're asking for directions. You're in the car yourself. You're not asking him to get in and drive. So that's to answer the super chat question here. He sees this as a true dichotomy, then hopefully he can take away from this some directions that he can find the answer himself. I'm not saying that trying to pass it off. It's the best answer I can give him.
Well, this opens me up to two interesting lines I want to take. Would you rather take the problem of deception or problem of evil?
I tell you what. Oh, okay, fine. All right. Let's break down
Pick your
the
poison.
definitions for. Well, I'm saying let's break down the definitions both for the audience, because there might. I know what the answer is for both of these, and you know what, obviously, because you're asking.
Yeah, I've ran the problem of evil before. I have a simple
Right.
trilemma that I think you'll accept all three premises, but if you accept all three premises, you're stuck in a logical contradiction where you're forced to drop one. And the problem of deception is basically, if God loves truth, why lies exist? And I have a thought experiment that goes along with that.
Okay, this I'm interested in. Let's go with the deception first.
Okay.
Do we do both?
So,
Can we?
yeah. God and two beings show up to you, after this debate. Both of them say they're God. How do you tell the difference?
That's a good one. Wouldn't be able to tell right off the bat.
Well, they'll answer your questions. They'll do whatever you ask them to do. Like, I want to know, what kind of method would you use to tell the difference between one's Satan and one's God, but you can't tell which is which. So, I mean, not off the bat, but is there a way that you could tell?
I think it would come down to, if I would have, and it's going to probably piss off a lot of people watching, especially the really moralist Christians. I'd probably want to go with them to a local bar, like a watering hole, like a dive, and have a beer and talk with them and see how the conversations went.
What kind of questions would you ask them?
Probably poignant ones, but I was going to say, this is how I'd know I was dealing with the devil and how I'd know I was dealing with God. The conversations with God would probably piss me off, and I'd probably be very agitated, and he'd probably say a few things that made me think afterwards, really reflective and made me look really deep introspectively. Whereas the conversations with the devil, I'd have a great time. We'd have a fun night. It would be all laughs and it would be riotous. And I think
Do you think
that's
that the
is
devil is hedonistic? Like he just cares about having a good time? Like what if his goal is to be there is to solely to convince you that he's God? Not to like be your chum and your pal and your buddy.
Well, that's my whole point. Is that's how he would probably try to win. He'd try over first by just getting me to like him, to really like him, and then from there, that's when he would start to do, his different shows and tells, where he would start to do different tricks and different. Well,
I'm gonna need more specifics. I'm gonna need specifics. So, like, if he says, "Hey, go sacrifice your son," would you think that was God or the devil?
Well, we're talking Isaiah, right? Yeah,
Abraham.
Abraham and Isaac. Right, Isaiah was the other son. Yeah. Abraham.
If he said, "Go and kill a town full of people," would you think that's God or the devil?
Well, the thing is, God wouldn't have me do it himself. We
have precedent.
He's already played that card.
No, there's
no. He does have there is precedent, but right. But I'm not a prophet or a holy man. He wouldn't approach me. He'd approach somebody.
You don't know that until he tells you that.
Well, that would be
like Moses said, prophet until he was informed about it.
Right.
What if they did miracles like rain down fire from heaven? Do you think one could do that?
That's the point I was getting at. That's the point I was getting at with the devil. The devil would do things like that. God.
What about
God wouldn't do that. But again, we're talking about him trying to win me over, and I don't think that God's going to
not to be your buddy though, just to convince you that I am who I say I am. Like I am the I am. But they're both saying, and remember that Satan is a liar, so he can go ahead and say I am the I am, and he has no problem saying it, but he's lying.
Right, that's my point.
One's lying. But I don't think that there is any way, because even if he's going to ask you to do immoral things, like that doesn't tell the difference between God and Satan. If they have magical powers, that doesn't tell the difference between God and Satan. What if they can recite scripture, like you said, and they memorize the Bible? What if they both speak eloquently on scripture? Do you think that can separate the two?
I think they're both going to know the scripture, chapter, verse, front to back, either way. So that wouldn't be a good way to tell them apart. The best way the best way that you'd be able to tell the devil and God apart is
the pitchfork.
The devil would be trying.
That was a joke. I saw that from chat.
No, that's a good one. All right, chat. The best way I honestly think is, again, the devil would be trying to pull out all the stops. And the thing is with God, because, a part of our belief is God knows you. He'd say the devil doesn't have the same inside baseball God has. So the devil would be trying all these different tricks. He'd be trying all these different ways. Basically, if you've ever tried to pick up a young lady at the bar, the devil will try the same things with you. God doesn't. He won't be doing that.
Do you have any reference for that behavior? Because I don't know anything in scripture that says he's like a pickup artist. He's clever. He's the most clever of all beings, right? He's more clever than human beings. So it seems like he's just slightly dumber than God. But you're a mortal man. How can you tell the difference between all-knowing and slightly dumber than all-knowing?
Because I think that if I had met God, like I said, the conversations would probably be pissing me off. And towards the end of the conversation, he'd start saying things that would make it all click into place. And it would be subtle with God. And at the end of it, he'd say...
Like a serpent?
No. Wise as a serpent, but no, not as a serpent.
They are subtle too.
Yes, no, they are subtle. But I'm saying, I think that with God, if I was talking to God, the conversation would go in the direction it's supposed to go, where when I leave after having that conversation, I'm going to really have that gnawing feeling like, was that God?
Okay, here's a caveat to add on to it. You don't leave the conversation. Yeah. You have to pick one or the other to go with to your eternal place.
Okay. Well, then I'm hoping I pick right. That's the best answer I can give you, because I'm hoping that the one that I would think was God is the one that I pick, and I don't wind up screwing up royally and picking the devil.
I think this goes back to what the definition of a God is. Like, it really seems like there's a hard time even picking between the pinnacle of all goodness and the pinnacle of all evilness. Like,
well, if they both show up looking like Joe Haircut, I mean,
yeah. And if we're just taking it on a whim and we're just like, whoop, we're gonna have our best guess, I don't think that's a good reason. Would you say that's a good reason, or is that just like, flipping a coin or something?
Well, no, it all comes back down to faith. But as I said, I think that God would.
The devil
God
wants
would
your faith.
No, I'm saying if I make the choice would come down to, it would be a choice of faith. It would be you go with your gut on that one. If they both showed up and I went, they both want to talk to me. Again, I think that the devil would show up. He'd look really good. He'd be like a really handsome man. He'd have on a nice suit. He'd be well spoken. He'd be well groomed, well bred. And I think God would look much more plain. He'd be very unassuming, probably be wearing a flannel shirt and jeans,
Why do you think
scuffed up boots.
Like, I feel like you're way underestimating the devil. Like, if I was the devil, I would just imitate whatever God's doing and make it really hard for you.
No, our belief system about the devil is that he can't help himself. He's grandiose. He has to show up looking polished to the nines. God, on the other hand, will show up looking like, he's there to fix the air conditioning or something. He's not going to do that.
The Bible says that God is like in a throne of blinding light and glory with gems and jewels all over him.
When he reveals his true self to you, yes. But in the meantime,
would his true self be Satan? If it's about the glitz and the riz, like, why wouldn't you think that you're worshiping the same guy? They're both two sides of the same coin. Like, Satan is God, and it's just like an alter ego. He's Batman, but he's Bruce Wayne. Get it?
Okay, I get where you're going with it now. That from that perspective and the way you're presenting it, that would make sense then, yes. But that's not what I believe.
But why isn't it? We're looking for good reasons, not good faith. Like, we're not talking about good faith, because good faith just means trusting, and you can trust anything for bad reasons. So faith's not going to cut it in the debate, because we're looking for good versus bad reasons. And I'm gonna segue into somewhere that's even more uncomfortable for you. How do you know that Jesus isn't Satan? How do you know that Jesus isn't Satan? That he was not, in fact, sent by God to test the Jews by starting a new religion called Christianity?
Well, it all comes down to what we believe and what we've been taught and what we've learned since we were in Sunday school.
But that's what he's relying on.
How do I know he's not Satan?
If you're worshiping Satan, you're an idolater, because I imagine you're a Trinity-believing Catholic. So if you are raising anything other than God in the place of God, you're an idolater, and you don't have any hope. You're worse than an atheist, actually. But if you can't identify what a God is, if it's really hard to identify what a God is in the first place, who can blame you for not being holding the wrong thing up, right? That's kind of what I'm getting at.
And nobody in Fire asks, God is Chuck Norris and Walker, Texas Ranger?
That's actually a good one. I like that. All right, the Trinity. Well, you asked a few questions there.
Thank you so much.
More the hypostatic union. Why is Jesus not Satan? Because he said so?
We have the books where he confronted the devil and had the conversation in the desert.
Mm-hmm. That was an internal monologue, by the way. He was actually wrestling with himself. So he was wrestling with the Satan inside of himself.
Well,
let me remind you too, at the Last Supper, he releases Satan into Judas. Like, where was Satan? He was just standing around? Or did Jesus send Satan into Judas?
Well, I don't think Jesus did it. I don't think. Well,
you don't think Jesus stopped it either, though, right?
That's the apocryphal belief that Jesus and Judas conspired together to get him crucified, to save humanity, and he needed Judas to do that. I've heard that one before. It's a hell of a good read. It makes for good TV and good movies. Do I
Why not
believe
just
it?
have faith in it?
Yeah, well, that's why I was just about to say. If I'd have to look into it, because I'll be completely honest with you, I never really read that deeply into the Book of Judas or any of the apocryphal ones from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Well, I did, but I'm talking like 20 something years ago. I'd have to reread.
I think
them.
what we're looking
So,
for is something more than just belief, though. Like a lot of atheists are
right,
science-minded and stuff like that. We're looking for
right,
methodologies that lead us to true and like predictable and repeatable results. But just having faith, anybody can have that in anything. Like, and so I
all
don't
right. I
see
got
that
one for
as a
you.
good reason.
All right, you gave me something scientific. Okay, you want something scientific? I got one for you.
Yeah, hit me.
All right. Do you know what the original symbols of the church were? Not the crucifix, but what they were before the cross.
The fish.
Right. The fish was the one. And the other thing that the church actually used very early on was the pentacle. That being the endless pentagram. You know that, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah. The early church, they used a pentacle because the 5 points symbolize the 5 wounds of Christ, but more so because the endless pentacle holds the golden ratio. Because the golden ratio is considered the perfect number. And as such, a lot of them believe that it was God's existence because the golden ratio could be proven time and again to exist everywhere. Kind of like that movie, The Number 23, that drove Jim Carrey insane. But it's a little joke there. But that's probably the most compelling thing I can think of scientifically.
Where's the link between God and a golden ratio?
Well, the
Where's
fact that
causal link?
I think just the fact that this ratio shows up over and over again in nature, and it's actually the key to the perfect geometry that the Greeks use for their architecture. Uh, I mean, coincidence is not really something I could believe. I mean, let's be real. Talking about, we have such a complex universe that we live in. There's so much complexity to life, chemical bonds, electromagnetism, all this. The fact that it all happened by happenstance, and the fact that it all happened without something guiding it.
So, like fine tuning is kind of what you're talking about, like a fine tuning argument with the cosmological constants and all that stuff.
Well, considering everything that I'm looking at in my kitchen right now is made from basically carbon atoms, including you and me, the computer I'm talking to you on, it's mind blowing.
Is it the small probabilities that amaze you about that? Because you said you don't believe in coincidence. So, like, if something's a small enough probability, you think it's determined?
Yeah, and I think that there is predetermination, which is what's so amazing, because you could have flips of coins, you can have rolls of dice, you could do rock, paper, scissors. And the fact that this outcome, every one of those outcomes was already predetermined, that's amazing. That's just completely mind blowing to me.
That is crazy.
If you really look, yeah,
that's like, the small probability stuff's wild. Do you believe God caused the Holocaust?
I think men caused the Holocaust, and they caused it for the worst reasons. A lot of them said they were doing it in God's name.
Do you know how small a probability? Do you know how small a probability would be that Hitler was born? It would be such a small probability. It's actually a very small probability any individual is born, considering that the human body, the males carry 1 trillion sperm in their lifetime. Women have hundreds, if not thousands, of eggs. We have to consider the birth rates. We have to consider the population of the time. So, like, if we start running all these factors, we can get the existence of Hitler, to be a very, very, very small probability, which would mean that God did it, right?
Probably is the fact. Probably God is the reason Hitler was born. But this is the thing.
No, we have to also take into account all the factors of his life, because his childhood.
Right. I was going to say Aloysius Hitler beating the hell out of him.
So all these things would have been very probabilistic. Like, the more factors we add on, the more smaller that probability gets that leads him from childhood to leader of Germany. And all the stuff that would take into account with not only just him being born, but like his life shaping out the way it did, would be astronomically smaller than any of the fine-tuning stuff that we're talking about, which means like the Calvinists are true, and it means free will doesn't exist, and it means a lot of different things if we're going to use the probability argument to prove God. It's going to prove.
All right, real fast. That's the initial hour. So we've got, let me see, we've got an additional 19 minutes available from Super Chats. If y'all starting the additional 19 minutes now, and I'll add on time as it comes in.
Thank you, sir. I'll let you respond to that, but actually this would be a good segue into the second fork of my attack here, the problem of evil. So what say you about Hitler being predetermined and the Holocaust being predetermined and all that stuff?
And the Holocaust being predetermined. Probably. I'm definitely going to say, yeah, that's a probability.
Is that a belief you held before coming into this debate?
No, but never thought
I convinced you of that? Oh no!
No, you laid out a good.
Oh no!
You're laying out a good argument. So I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm responding. That's the most honest answer I can give.
I appreciate that.
That's not a problem. Not a problem, man. Not a problem. Now it comes down to, that's why I said, we have free will, but the thing of it is, it's the part of the thing is God apparently knows the decisions we're going to make. And it's not like maybe we're pre-programmed with these decisions, but we think we made them ourselves. That's where it gets all mind-bending. That's the thing. I personally think free will and every decision I make is my own. But if every decision I'm making has already been predetermined, how free is my will and how much of it is predetermined? It can drive you nuts thinking about it. And therein lies the rub. Therein definitely lies the rub. So Hitler, I think he was predetermined. And I definitely think that means that the Holocaust was predetermined. And that means us upturning the Holocaust was predetermined. But this is the thing. Everyone involved on both sides had free will going into it. Well, all right, let me back that up. I don't think a lot of people in Nazi Germany had too much free will. But you get where I'm getting at with this, though.
Yeah, I don't think the higher-ups had a lot of free will.
Yeah, right, exactly. The higher-ups in the SS, they had their free will. And in this country, so many people volunteered and went into the service. They didn't really even need to do a draft, but because people wanted to go and fight after Pearl Harbor.
So can we swing over to the problem of evil now?
Yeah, exactly. We could go to the evil one. I just wanted to answer your first question before we went.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's very
not a problem.
I appreciate your honesty with those. That was great.
Sure. Thank you.
So I have three premises. It's not a traditional argument because there is no conclusion. The conclusion actually depends on which of my three premises you're going to be forced to drop, because I think on initial glance you're going to agree to all three of them, but once we start going through the exercise, like, you'll realize that you can't hold all three of them.
Right.
So the first premise would be: do you believe in the triomni God? Is God omnibenevolent, omnipotent, and omniscient?
I've had this question before, but let's go through it. Yes, I do.
Okay. Second premise would be: do you believe evil exists? And I define evil for this thought experiment as anything that is contrary to God's omnibenevolent nature or will.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And the third premise would be in a reality of God alone before creation, it would be logically impossible for evil to exist.
Okay, I thought you were pausing for dramatic effect. Yes.
No,
yes.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, evil wasn't on the scene because it would be impossible, because God is all good. And then it had to take his act of creation for evil to enter reality. So you've agreed to all three premises.
Right.
You said you agreed with it.
But I'm saying the thing I disagree with is the evil doesn't come from God. It comes from us. We're the ones that are doing the evil to each other.
Would evil exist if he didn't create us?
No, that's the sad part of it. He
Yeah, so
created
evil
us, and
existed
we're a flawed
because he
creation.
created us.
Yes,
Is
he
he a
created
perfect
us, and
creator?
we created evil.
Is he
I
a
think that
perfect
God's a perfect
creator?
creator. Well, he's a perfect
How can
creator,
he
and
be a
that's why we
perfect
have to,
creator without creating perfect creations?
because we were perfect. We broke ourselves. We took the fruit off the tree. We ate of the fruit. We are no longer perfect. We've become damaged goods. And that's part of the reason that you strive every day to be a better person. You try to get, you'll never achieve it, but you try to get as close as you were to that perfection. You try to take back what you lost, what you were born with. You were born with loss. And you're trying to regain that which you never had. It seems like it's a fruitless endeavor, but that's why when you get to the end, you'll know if you actually succeeded. That's where it all comes back to faith.
Could God have made us in a way where we were capable of not sinning? Or made it impossible for us to sin?
That's how we were originally created. I believe that. I believe that there was no sin, and we were at one point we were a perfect creation. And when we committed that original sin, it was ruined for the rest of us. So we're born into this negative feedback loop, and part of the reason that you get involved with faith is you're trying to fix that which is broken.
How is it possible that if we were perfect creations that we were flawed? That's by definition not working, because if we had a design flaw, as think about if you bought a car from the perfect car creator, we'll call it Toyota for now,
Okay.
and they sent you something and it broke down, or it, even better yet, to your free will argument, they had a giant self-destruct button right in the middle of your armrest. Like, and then do you think that we could call that car a perfect car? What would be the purpose of causing it to self-destruct, or even giving us the option to self-destruct?
Well, that's the whole point. The car would have been fine until we broke it. It wasn't that the creator gave us a broken vehicle. We're the ones that broke the vehicle. We were perfect up until we listened
But
to the snake.
because we hit the button,
right. We
like
made the mistake.
if the button was there,
Well, yeah,
but
but
the button didn't
that
need
means
to
that
be
it's
there.
built into. That's what I'm saying. It's built into the car.
Yes, like the tree didn't need to be there.
But the tree was there, and we were trusted, and we betrayed his trust, and that's the reason that he cursed Adam and Eve.
No, he didn't trust us. He knew what was going to happen. There's if you know it's going to happen, trust isn't a factor. Because you said he was omniscient. He knew that we would eat the tree.
I like this.
Correct? Because there's no reason for the tree to be there anyway, like any more than there needs to be a self-destruct button in the middle of your armrest on your car. Unless it says, well, once they put their arm down in a comfortable place when they're not paying attention or something, then they're going to blow themselves up. We don't have any liability for the car blowing up now, and we get to like say, no, we're not going to recall that crap because you blew it up yourself, and be like, well, why'd you put the stupid freaking button there, bro?
I like this.
Unless you wanted us to do it.
No, I like this because
I don't think
it's a deep. This is a good exercise. This is a deep thinking exercise.
I don't think that it's logically possible to hold all three of the premises I laid out to you. And a lot of people figure out that they have to drop one or the other. You were pushing back on the third one about evil coming into existence through creation. But if you just kick it to human beings being the responsible party, like they're the second cause at best, but God still caused them with the potential to do it, and he knew it was going to happen. So he's still on the hook for ultimate responsibility over his creation, because all power comes all responsibility, right?
Right, and that's the thing is, believe it, you should have just started. We would have saved time. You would have started with, well, he knew the tree was going to be there to begin with, and they were going to eat from it, because that's the good. That's actually, there's the crux right there, and that's the solid part of it. Because I could have actually gone around everything else, but that's the one there. So
you could drop his omniscient nature from premise one. A lot of people do. They're called open theists, and they'll deny that God has like all the future telling or future seeing abilities that he does have. And that's one way to escape it, but you're dropping one of the premises, like I told you.
Right. Well, let me make a concession then here. I start off every night. I pray. I'm not like most Catholics. I don't do the whole thing with talking to the different saints. And I actually got flack in a Catholic server I'm in for this. They're like, you don't talk to the saints? I go, no. So why don't you talk to the saints? I said, well, I've never really done that before. I've always talked directly to God. I never walked into the church. Hey, St. Anthony, you got a minute? That's just nothing I ever did. So I talk to God all the time, and I tell him, I pray, and then I tell him what's going on in my life, and I say to him, God, we believe you're all knowing, you're all seeing, and I tell him I don't think that you're honestly sitting there watching all of us. You got other stuff to do, so you expect us to come in and tell you at the end of the day. So I just think he's busy. That's my honest opinion. I'm not trying to be a jerk.
Is he omnipresent? Is he omnipresent? Is he everywhere all the time?
I don't think all the time. I think honestly he has the ability. It's just the man's. I say the man when I'm saying the man is probably busy doing other things to be wondering what the hell Scoob's doing in his kitchen at 2 a.m. That's just me. I think that
how can he be busy doing other things if he's all powerful? He could do everything at once because that's what all powerful is.
Right.
It's not like he has his attention diverted elsewhere.
I think he does. That's the way I look at it personally. I look at it like, no, God's busy. He's got a tsunami in Japan. He's orchestrating. He doesn't really have time to see me looking in the fridge.
He's orchestrating or helping with the victims?
Helping with the victims. He's probably doing.
He's over there causing a typhoon right now. What the hell?
He might be doing something. He's got something he's working on. He's got something he's cooking. Maybe there's a volcano erupted. Maybe he's helping with the victims. Maybe he's the one doing it because he's remodeling. I don't know. But that's
we have 8 minutes. I don't want to get lost in the weeds. We have 8 minutes.
No, I got you.
What is your best reason? What's your best reason? 8 minutes. Boom. We're gonna
okay. My best reason. I think he can see all. I think he can know all. I think he can do all the time. But I don't think he does. I think he leaves a lot of it up to us. I think he concentrates on the most important things. That gets back to when we started talking about this earlier, when I said about
your best reason he exists. Your best reason he exists. Back to the prompt.
Okay, best reason he exists. Because I haven't seen enough things contrary to make me think he doesn't. Honestly, it all comes down to just a gut feeling with me. I'm sorry, I don't have a scientific answer for you. Don't have a scientific answer.
I have a gut feeling he doesn't exist, so now we're at a standstill.
No, that's fine.
How do we tell who's right and who's wrong?
Oh, I don't know. We probably have to have like another 2-3 of these conversations. But I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, you're definitely the type of person I'd like to meet at a barbecue and have a few beers with, because this has definitely been an interesting hour and change. I'll tell you that. I've been enjoying it.
Do you see any potential harm from a religious belief? I guess we can end on that. Like, now you play me. Would there be any good reasons not to believe?
Any good reasons not? If you don't feel it, if you honestly can sit there like you don't feel it, you don't believe it, so, right?
Well, I have a long story that would take longer than we have left, but I became convinced not only through logical reasons, but I became a mega asshole when I was a believer. I was very fundamental. I treated people badly. I did bad things because I thought God wanted me to do them. That's why I brought up Abraham and Isaac and stuff like that. Because there's this dichotomy in morality of Christianity is like, you're supposed to have the law written on your heart, but also you're supposed to believe in divine command theory. And every believer usually thinks that those two go hand in hand, like they skip along merrily and it's all great, but that's not the case. And so if you have a feeling in your heart, morally speaking, and that contradicts about what you think in your brain is going on with what God's wanting you to do, you're supposed to give up on your own inner morality and do what you think the Bible or your priest or whatever external force is wanting to do. So
right. Well, he his reasons are his own, and I don't question them. But no,
we should.
Seriously, that's
why did God give you free will if He didn't want you to use it?
No, I do. I ask questions all the time. I'll sit out there when I talk to God. There's no lights on. It's just me. And I got a candle lit, and I talk to him. I ask him questions, and I make sure to word it right, because I don't want to be too pretentious. But no, I ask him all the time, and I ask him for guidance, and I ask him why this happened, why that happened, and I try to, to the best of my ability, find the answers myself. And I think if the answer just pops in there out of nowhere, maybe it was him, maybe he gave it to me. That's a possibility. I'm not going to rule it out, but to give you an idea, like this
this holiday season, I spend the holidays alone. Both of my parents, and I got bad blood with my siblings who are still in New York. We don't speak. So it's either I spend the holidays at the house alone with the dogs, or I do what I like to do. I go and I volunteer at the soup kitchen over at St. Patrick's, out east on the island in Bayshore. I go there, and I give the soup to the homeless. I sit and we have dinner together, pray, we talk, songs, games, Sometimes if someone has, if I have a little bit extra money, I'll get some random gifts and have them wrapped. So when the Santa comes, I can throw them in a bag so he can give them out to the kids. That's
good. Do you remember that story in the Bible where God continuously fed his people with manna from heaven to keep them from starving?
Yeah. A lot of people think that was psychedelic mushrooms.
Why don't you? That'd be fun, right? Why don't you think he does that with at least his followers who are poor and they can't get the SNAP?
From my understanding, once we nailed Christ to the cross, he pretty much was done doing things for us like that. We kind of crossed the line.
No, you're a Catholic. Miracles are a requirement for saints. Like every saint has to have a miracle backing him.
Right. But that's through the divine intervention into the one person. I'm not seeing him doing things like he did for the Israelites anytime soon. We've pissed him off.
To be fair, he could make you multiply loaves and fish then. Like you could just go stand in the field and multiply loaves and fish and you'd be one person. They'll make you a saint.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
But he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
It's like he doesn't care, right? He doesn't exist, one of the two.
Or it could be I'm just not worthy.
Well, you could pick anybody. It doesn't have to be you. It could be the Pope.
Right. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, we've had saints, even up into the 21st century, we've had saints. Look, I'm going to be completely honest. I said it in the onset. I'm a bit of a lapsed Catholic. I can maybe name a half a dozen saints, and we got thousands of them. But we've had saints doing miracles over the centuries now, even up into the modern times. So if you need proof, just look it up. We got books of saints. I'm sure you can find one on Amazon. Just because I can't do it doesn't mean he doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. Okay, go ahead, Tacos.
Oh,
yeah, this is right. You're not. But... Yeah, you're right. You're not reading. So we need stuff now, or not we, but people need stuff now,
right?
And so I get the loving father crap all the time from the Christians, from you guys. Oh, he's
right,
a loving father, but I don't know any loving fathers that just stand by and watch their children starve. So wouldn't none of this stuff causes you to question why you believe the stuff you do? That's blows my mind.
Well, I think because if you go and you look, there are right now soup kitchens and pantries helping people. They're going and delivering food. So
that's atheists. That people helping people. Like we don't need to God for that. I want God to.
No, but because I'm saying you're asking me.
I want God to take care of his own children, not the state.
Right, but I'm saying you're asking me why God isn't stepping in and intervening because people have already stepped. People have already seen that already, and there's a good portion of them that are doing it.
People aren't starving.
So
no, people aren't starving.
Well, there's people starving all over the world. People starve every day.
Especially the African Christians, right? The African Christians. Christianity is huge in Africa. And the
Catholicism, especially. I was going to say yes. Catholicism. My priest is actually from Africa. A beautiful man he is. What a sweetheart of a human being.
Well, but yet they're dying of the most horrible, preventable stuff all the time. Like women, children, men, whatever.
People
animals,
dying.
goats,
That all they would
cattle,
need is
sheep, oxen,
all they would need is penicillin, and no one gives them the penicillin. But you can go and look on TikTok and you can go and look on YouTube and you see people that are just spending money on themselves with indulgence. Do you know that you can go and you can spend right now about $500?
I don't care about how bad the people are because we've already established that you think people are bad, and I've already said that I think people can do whatever God believers can do. But my point is his inactivity because we're looking at good reasons to believe.
Right.
Like,
well, I
what-
I
you
answered
exist.
you.
I believe you exist. I believe those people exist.
Right.
But if
But-
you told me in the premise of the problem of evil, you think he's omnibenevolent, he's all good. This does not fit that descriptor.
Well, we're supposed to be our brother's keeper, and a lot of us are dropping the ball. That's the problem.
That's a question. That's a question too from Cain. It's a sarcastic question. Am I my brother's keeper? It's a rhetorical question. It's not a
We're supposed
yes
to be
or no question.
But we're supposed to be our brother's keeper.
Not-
That's the thing.
Not a
Look, there's
no,
people
that's-
going out there.
maybe.
But what
okay.
I was going to say to you
Go ahead.
before, just think about this. You can go right now to Hershey, Pennsylvania. You can stay in a certain hotel, and you can pay $500, and you can take a shower of chocolate. But there are people starving in the streets. People spend money on themselves before they would put up their fellow man. People indulge.
But no, I don't know. How much time's left, Taco? I feel like we're petering
A
out
minute
here.
and a half.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, I'll talk really slow. You have anything? Last question for me, I guess, before we wrap this up.
Yeah. Yeah. You said that you were a fundamentalist at one point, right?
Yeah, very.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. What made you lose all your faith? Just if you could sum it up in a minute and a half, just quick.
Okay. It started with Bible contradictions. I did a lot of research, and then I had a mental breakdown, and my personal experience was called into question. I ended up mentally hospitalized. I lived multiple years thinking I was having spiritual experience, but I was actually in psychosis. And I'm bipolar, so I was having manic and depressive swings, and everything I was experiencing, I was attributing. I had a Bible verse for it. So when people are trying to convince me I'm mentally ill, which I turned out I was like, no, you guys are of weak faith. This verse explains this symptom I'm having. This verse explains this symptom I'm having. And until I got forcefully hospitalized under a 5150, I was forced to come to terms with personal experience, and that stuff can't always be trusted.
Ah, okay.
You know? And so I don't take it into I don't give a lot of people credit when they're like, oh, I had warm feelings, and that's how I know
And
God
that
exists,
is
because
time.
I had them.
That was a very good and concise reason. I can see then why you have the belief system you do. And I would definitely never try to force you back into the faith or force you back into the fold.
All right.
And you seem like a nice guy. Go ahead, talk.
This is greatly appreciated, and everybody else. Now let's go ahead and move into the conclusion or the closing statements here. I'm going to go ahead and put a poll up real fast. Start a poll. So I'm going to put up a poll real fast for tonight's master debater. So we're seeing if B.S. Lewis or Scoobie is tonight's master debater. Everybody in the audience, please go ahead and begin your votes. Scoobie, since you're the affirmative, you'll do your closing statement first. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll start your 8-minute timer.
All right. Well, for starters, let me just say BS was definitely giving me a really, really good mental workout, which I really appreciated. It was very cordial. It was enjoyable. And the fact that the man was definitely was a fundamentalist beforehand and is very well versed in scripture, that's why this was very enjoyable for me. I honestly feel bad coming into this because I've said before, I'm a lapsed Catholic. Grew up very much going to church with the headphones on. I'd sneak them in. You know, when I got into junior high, I was sneaking the Game Boy in. Get caught all the time and yelled at by the priests. So I'm glad I tried to keep it as entertaining as possible, and I'm being completely honest here. I feel that he should have had somebody who was a much more challenging opponent. I wanted to keep it as entertaining, though, for him as I could, because I could tell right off the bat, oh, okay, this man definitely came to battle. I was just figuring I was going to have myself a nice, cordial debate, which thankfully we did have a nice, cordial talk, which was very enjoyable. It hasn't changed my beliefs at all doing this. It's the questions he asked me are the same questions I ask myself every day. Every day I constantly, will sit there. I question my faith constantly, but never with malicious intent. My personal beliefs are that God wants me to keep coming up with these different questions because eventually I'll get the epiphany of the answer. And who knows, I might be able to crank out a book series when I get the answer. But I still have my belief and I still have my faith. And I seriously hope that the audience enjoyed this more than anything, because I can tell that BS and myself, we had a lot of that. You were obviously having fun. So I think that all in all, this was not a waste of anyone's time. And if anything, I hope everyone who was watching, they either came away with some spiritual knowledge I could give them, or some really grounded, rooted, plausible scientific knowledge that BS could give them. So either way, doesn't matter if I won, doesn't matter if he won. I think that the ones who really won tonight was everyone who viewed this talk. And hopefully, leaving this, they can either, if they were having doubts, hopefully I helped them to lose those doubts. BS helped them to confirm their doubts. And if they have to walk away from faith or they have to walk into faith, if this stream helped them with that, I think that he and I both served a really good purpose. And I hope that everyone took away what they needed to take away from this stream. I think that's it, Doc. I think I got everything said that I could say.
Thank you so much for the amazing closing statement. BS,
thank you.
1 second. I got to hide you real fast. BS, let me know when you're ready, and I'll start your 8-minute timer.
Ready?
All right.
Yeah, I echo the sentiment, Scoobie. And I didn't say rut-row one time during the debate, even though I had planned to say it multiple times. But you were just too nice for me to put you in a gotcha. The problem is, rut-row, you got some trouble coming, brother. I didn't get to use that joke at all, so I had to throw it in here. Very fun debate. You seem like a really nice guy. You should definitely come hang out more around Taco's channel. We have a good group around here, and you'd fit right in. I'd have to say, as far as the performance of the debate, hopefully I didn't come on overbearing, but I do take my debates seriously. This is a structured debate after all. It's not just a cordial conversation. But I do like you kind of approach my debates as cordial conversations. I feel like for the audience, they're not going to get, at least for this debate, there wasn't a lot of yelling. There wasn't a lot of interrupting. I feel like I might have had to interject, but because you seem like a storyteller by nature, and that's great if there's no time limit, but we got an hour and whatever changed the viewer's bias today. So I definitely had some talking points I wanted to address, but it's not that I didn't enjoy listening to your stories. And but audience, I think I won this debate. No offense to Scoobie. I feel like the best reason he gave to believe was kind of just gut instinct and just faith, maybe tradition. I don't feel like he had any answers to my logical problems, like ending up in intellectual limbo. I gave good moral dilemmas that would challenge the definition of a god. If someone can't even tell the difference between a god and a Satan, or what a god is, or how we define a god, then I think I'm pretty justified in not believing in said gods, because what the hell am I even believing in the first place? I don't know. I'm trying to recap in my mind what we talked about. Can't stress enough that, this is a pleasant debate. I think we had a good rapport, and that is most importantly. I was a little hesitant when I see your picture pop up with the Trump hat, but I'm not like a lot of people. I go around to a lot of places, so I try to see the best in people, and I also realize that people made good and bad decisions, and you haven't given me any reason beside having an avatar with a hat to wear for me to really have any red flags about your character. And hopefully that's a good takeaway for anybody who's staunch leftist sees him coming up. We talked a little about politically about the SNAP thing, but I kept trying to bring it to like God. Like, why is he letting people starve? Why isn't he taking care of his children? Not to get into the weeds about all the political mess going on with Senate and the president and everything. But ideally, if he is an authority, like I said in my definition, one of my definitions of God, it is his responsibility to make sure that he's taking care of his children. If not, he's just an absentee father who's basically left us to our own devices. And if that's the case, we're going to live our lives functionally just like he doesn't exist, you know? And so there's no good reason to believe, you can believe he exists, but he can still be some kind of absentee deistic father, and you're still going to live your life the same way you live it if he wasn't even there in the first place. So you can try to push it to the creator thing and be like, well, I believe he's a creator, and that's kind of a thing I want to believe in, but the watchmaker analogy failed. You know, you're seeing watches everywhere. You don't have any point of contrast to decide what is a created being and a non-created being. This is why I always push with the anti-evolutionist crowd, and because they really think that disproving evolution or something like that's going to like default them into a creationism or intelligent design win, which it doesn't, because they don't have any positive case to make for creationism. If they want evolution to be overthrown, they're going to have to provide the mechanism. They're going to have to provide the overwhelming evidence to overrule the current scientific consensus of the day. Even if they defeated it wholeheartedly, you know, in some weird fluke of events, that would just still leave us in a state of nothingness, intellectually speaking, because we wouldn't know anything about origins. We would be like, well, we don't have any positive evidence to assert creationism. We don't have evolution anymore to make a story out of it. So we're just sitting around again in intellectual limbo with no reasons to believe anything, positive or negative. Yeah, I guess that's it. Tacos, thanks for hosting the debate. This was pleasant. And one last thing too is that I'm glad I actually got a chance to defend or to debate an atheist or a theist, because my last couple weren't so great. So this was a pleasure. Thanks for showing up, Scoob.
Lamos, I guess. I'm just kidding. I appreciate him hanging out for the debate. You were voted tonight's master debater with 88% of the vote. So congratulations out of 26 votes. Oh, here he is. And then, as tonight's master debater, BS, would you like to pick a Bible verse?
Yes, I would. Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verses 1 through 5.